How goes the family? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. So the lists keep coming, the lists keep coming, the lists keep coming. It's interesting all at the same time. I didn't think I was going to continuously talk about this, but I had to talk about this one because this was grown folks talk right here. I'm just going to call this grown folks mindset. That's what this rant is going to be about. Grown folks mindset, because to the adults in the room, regardless of your age or regardless of your background, your ethnicity, all that's irrelevant. My mother hates when I say this, but age is nothing but a number, because a lot of times I remember one time I was at a funeral, before I even get into the list, and my cousin's, at the time, man/baby's father, child's father, thought that I was, and I'm like 6-7 years younger than him, but he thought I was actually older than him because of quote unquote my maturity level. Yes, sir. No, sir. I'm dressed in a suit. I'm not, I don't have, I guess I don't have the haircut of a person that's in their early to mid 20s at the time. That's what I was. I was in my early to mid 20s at the time. It was back in like 2007, 2008 time frame. But anyways, and then I found out that he thought I was like in my late 40s. He kept saying yes, sir, no, sir to me. And he was acting all nervous when I was talking to him. So, and then I asked my cousin, I said, hey, what's going on with your man? And he's like, oh, he was nervous around you because he thought you was older than him. I'm just like, but she told me at the time that that's why they didn't work out together, because he was kind of still young in mind. He was worried more about having fresh shoes. At the time, that was the Air Force One's generation. So he was more worried about doing things of that nature. So I'm just like, okay, I get it. So anyways, I digress. But anyway, so let's get to the grown folks conversation. There was a list of people, and I just saw this post on Facebook, so that's why I said, let me talk about this. There was a list of people who don't give a D where y'all think y'all should go on a first date. And this list says, number 1, adults. 2, potential wives. So number 1, let's stick with adults, because I like that, because the whole term of adulting, a lot of people don't want to be adults anymore. A lot of people don't want to grow up anymore. A lot of people don't want to be mature anymore. Everybody, especially when it comes to people going off on the hinges, busting up a store, busting up somebody's house, it's because somebody insulted them. We live in that generation now where people think they should be able to get away with doing stuff like that. 1, I say the heck with that. And then number 2, I'm just like, yeah, adults are supposed to say, hey, the purpose of us going on our first date, let's have a conversation as adults, not blast it all over social media and whatnot, so the world can see what's happening. Because even me having my own social media, quote unquote, following, I'm not going to put every single aspect of my life out there, especially when things are happening on a more and more personal level, like a first date or a date or anything of that nature. Especially if the date goes wrong. That's nothing I want to blast all over social media. That's just not me. But I digress. But yeah, adults have conversations. Adults communicate. Adults, and this is one thing, and I tell a lot of people this, and especially certain females get mad when I say this, but it is what it is. I'm not a mind reader. I don't expect you to be a mind reader. When something is wrong with an adult is going to say, this is what the problem is. The adult is going to pout, whine, and stomp away. The adult is going to have a conversation. See, I'm 40 years old now. I expect to deal with adults when I'm having a conversation with you. And if you can't communicate and talk, then I have no use for you. I might as well be talking to a 5-year-old who's going to pout and go into the freaking corner. All right, so I'm going to leave that on that. Okay, number 2, potential wives. I like that, because if you're going to be anyone's significant other in especially today's world, 2023, going to 2024, because it's October and we're almost in November, you got to be able to have an adult conversation, 1. And then 2, you got to be able to understand that not everything is supposed to go your way. Welcome to life. Welcome to the real world. That's for the husbands and the wives. All right, number 3. But even though and I'll be honest with you, I don't believe in legally getting married unless there's some legal documentation, because whether people like it or not, some people call marriage a business. I call it an economic partnership. And if you're not bringing your economic partnership to the table, then we can't operate as a corporation. If we can't operate as a corporation, then being in love and having sex and being sexually attracted to one another is irrelevant. All right. Number 3, men who prioritize saving over spending. I rock with that, especially in today's world, because the people that are winning are the ones who are saving money and investing money and increasing their income by increasing their value. Okay. And it's like I said this before in other videos. You don't deserve to go to the fancy restaurant on the first date, because what if I don't end up liking you? It's a crazy concept, but it can happen. What if I'm not really feeling you? So it's like, I remember I had a first date one time at Glory Days. I don't even think they're really open like that. I don't see them around anymore, but yeah. And it didn't work. I was like, hey, this ain't gonna work. This person bored the heck out of me, and I didn't live up to her snooty mindset that she, because I'm from the DMV area, is superficial, snootyville when it comes to the men and women. So I didn't live up to that aspect. That's why I stopped dating females in the DMV area to begin with. All right. Number 4, responsible adults. I can rock with this because so many adults nowadays are not really responsible. A lot of people don't, they like breaking the laws and living off the grid and, just doing a lot of crazy stuff. So I can rock with this. Okay. What's the other one? Down to earth women. I like that because that is a superficial, and I've already named the cities 1,000 times, places like Atlanta, DC, New York, LA, and so many superficial cities around the country. It has its upsides and it has its downsides. But a lot of women in these areas are not down to earth. They're very snooty and uptight. And that's why a lot of men who are worth something, not just economically, but actually want to treat you well, will be like, I don't have time for this because you're just a headache. And I don't need any more headaches in life. Okay, people with a personality. A lot of people in today don't have any personality. You know why? Because we live, especially a lot of the younger people, because it's so, we're dealing with the first generation. My generation, the 80s babies, we lived without having a lot of electronic devices, and we lived with a lot of, in our 20s, we started getting addicted to the electronic devices. But unfortunately, a lot of the youth, people in their teens and 20s, don't know how to have a personality because they're too used to being on their cell phones and computers all the time. So having a decent personality, a lot of people have a type A personality, as I like to call in today's world, because they're a rock star on social media. They're a rock star when it comes to video games, but you try to have a one-on-one in-depth adult discussion with a lot of people and you get 2 to 3 word answers. Okay. Like, hey, how was your day? It was good. What'd you do? Went to work. After that, what'd you do? Went home. After that, what'd you do? Played a video game. Like that, a lot of people, men and women, like I said, this is no gender nonsense. A lot of people, that is the freaking mindset. When you have a conversation with them, instead of if you ask me, hey, how was your day? Oh, it was pretty good. I went to work today. We worked on these specific projects, and I was working on my side business as well, trying to sell a couple of products and things that nature. Listen to a couple of podcasts on YouTube, and then I'm a part of EY University. If you've never heard of them, the base is called Earn Your Leisure. And with them, you're able to basically learn a lot of information on how to own a business, how to invest your money in various different investment vehicles, stocks, bonds, real estate. And then I'm able to engage with more people who have the same mindset, especially within the Black community. That's a conversation. And then I in turn say, but enough about me. Hey, how was your day? What did you do? And please be specific and give me the details so I can engage in an adult conversation. Crazy concept, but it can work. All right. Okay. So, and another one says smart adults. And that has nothing to do with you having 1,000 degrees, because I've been around people who are have 5 doctrines, master's degrees, all that great stuff, and they could tell you a lot of great things about the specific subject matters that they actually majored in. But you try to have a conversation, intellectual conversation with them outside of that realm, and it's kind of like dealing with Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, and they go blank. So being able to be an intelligent adult and know that you don't know everything, because none of us do. Every day we have an opportunity to learn. As I always say from my former coworker, if you go a day without trying to learn something new, then in a sense you have failed for the day. All right? So just leave it at that. Okay. Number 8, someone with critical thinking skills. Crazy concept, but it can work. Especially nowadays, you want to be able to be with somebody who has critical thinking skills, because the way that the world moves is totally different. people go through these school systems, whether it's public or private school systems, and if you even watch the news, you'd be still being trained like it's 1985 around here, and we're going into 2024. We have to think differently. We have to be more strategic. That's just the way the game goes, regardless of who's in the White House, governor's house, or mayor's house. It's all about what you do in your house. You feel me? And if a man or a woman is trying to get chose, you need to be with somebody who's ready to ride with you from an economic perspective, a mental perspective, a spiritual perspective, and all that good stuff. And yeah, it's going to be hard. Yeah, it's going to suck. Not everything in life is great, but are you going to be with a rider? That's the grown folks talking. No, hey, can we have an argument? Sure, we're going to have an argument, but can we be adults and talk it out and work through it and move forward? A lot of people can't. A lot of people don't have that maturity. And guess what? If you don't, it ain't the end of the world. That's the crazy thing. It's not the end of the world because we are all a work in progress. Okay? We're all a work in progress. Nobody's perfect. It is what it is. But be able to have that critical thinking skill, because I tell you, man, some fools, some men and women I have a conversation with, they can't critically think to save their lives. And Lord have mercy. And if you ask them a question, they look at you like it's a deer in headlights. And they could not have a degree. They could have a degree. They could own a business. They could be top tier in the profession. And some days but the only thing that they can talk about is sports, and there's nothing wrong with sports. I don't watch sports. There's nothing wrong with it. Sports and entertainment. Outside of that, they can't have a reasonable adult conversation. And that blows me. Or sports, entertainment, their children. Nothing wrong with being a parent. I'm not a parent. Nothing wrong with being a parent. But if you can't have an intellectual discussion outside of those specific subject matters, then what the hell are we going to have to talk about? Because a lot of times, unfortunately, this is why a lot of empty nest people, when they become empty nesters, couples, they end up breaking up. Great example. And I'm not trying to throw shade at Gary Owens, but great example. Both of his kids are grown now. You know, he's a comedian. And during the pandemic, him and his wife got a divorce because they got to learn that they couldn't stand really being around each other, you know, when the world was locked down. A lot of people made babies during the pandemic. A lot of people ended up breaking up during the pandemic. It was a do or die situation because a lot of people, I remember when they first shut things down, and on one of the meetings at my job, one gentleman was complaining about not being able to having to work from home because he knew that his wife wasn't going to be too happy to be around him for you know, all day, because they were used to, you know, going to work, being away from the house for about 10 hours, and then, you know, come home and spend a couple hours a day and things of that nature. So being around each other for 24 hours or more, it was a new concept to them, and they just couldn't stand it. You had people that actually did not want to work from home. But still, it's one concept that kind of blows me, but I'll leave it at that. All right, number 9. Women looking for a husband long-term and not a simp for a nice meal. I rock with that because you have a lot of females that like having a simp because they want to be like, hey, James. And James be like, yes, dear. And a lot of females like that, and that's fine. Heck, I went to high school with a lot of guys like that, and they're happily married right now, and they love jumping when their wives say, hey, dear, where you at? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go to the bathroom without you. I'll be right back. And that's cool. My mindset is, hey, if you're happy with your life, it is what it is. Not for me, but hey, it is what it is, you know? But anyways, last one, but not least, the list says everyone else. And you could, with that one, that could be very subjunctive in regards to, it's like everyone else, because you know, the title of it's a list of people who don't give a where y'all think you should go on a first date. Everyone else. And I understand that concept. You know, it's like everyone else is like, hey, everybody has their preferences. Everybody's different. And I'm sure there's going to be more lists that comes out. I'll talk about it just because at this point it's just entertaining. But my mindset at the end of the day is this. If you're really pursuing a serious relationship, it really shouldn't matter where you go as long as the place is clean, safe, and quiet so that you can have an adult conversation. Because the purpose of the first date, regardless of your economic status, is who are you? This is who I am. Is there even going to be a second date? So Ruth Chris on the first date, not going to happen. Can I afford it? Yeah, but it ain't going to happen. Legal Seafood, Morton's on the first date, it's nice, but it ain't going to happen. Because you need to be able to go to a place where you're not worried about the bill, but you're worried about the person, who they are, and is this the kind of person that you want to be with? Especially nowadays, as expensive as everything is, time is money, money is time, and if you're going to be around people that are a waste of your time, then you're not going to be able to stay on your grind. So I leave it at that. So on that note, I'm out. This is a great edition of Grown Folks Conversation, because I believe that, hey, grown folks can be able to talk it out and say, hey, even if I don't agree with you, let's be a great example to people, especially the youth, and say, hey, okay, I don't agree with you, I respectfully disagree, but I'm gonna go this way, you're gonna go that way, and as my favorite saying is, you have a nice life. So on that note, do the great three things: like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. As I always say, make money moves, or you're gonna live, bro, like a fool. Take care.